Hello, everyone, and welcome to the kickoff of Bra Recycle Month in October. There's a lot going on in October. As you know, this coincides with Breast Cancer Awareness Month and Domestic Violence Awareness Month. But I couldn't think of a better way to start this month off than to have an interview with a very special person to me, Elizabeth Cluff, who is founder of Impact One Breast Cancer Foundation. And they have a mission to provide prompt support and resources to those impacted by breast cancer. But before we jump into our interview, because it's going to be fun, we have a lot to talk about. I know that so many of us have been impacted in some way by breast cancer. Either we've been diagnosed, or friends or family or coworkers have been diagnosed with breast cancer. And there's some stats I just wanted to share with you guys that I had pulled. Breast cancer is the most commonly diagnosed cancer among U.S. women after skin cancer. Each year, about 30% of all newly diagnosed cancers in women are breast cancer. And in 2024, approximately 310,000 women and 2,800 men, which we don't talk about much, will be diagnosed with invasive breast cancer. Also, about 66% of breast cancer cases are diagnosed at a localized stage before cancer has spread outside of the breast when it is easiest to treat. And there are about more than 4 million women with a history of breast cancer in the United States. This includes women currently being treated and women who have finished treatment. And in the United States, less than 1% of all breast cancers occur in men. So I thought it would be great to kick off October talking a little bit about, the support that's out there, the support that's actually needed for breast cancer survivors. It's definitely a journey, and Elizabeth will definitely talk about that. So I want to welcome Elizabeth Cluff. Welcome, Elizabeth.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I feel like, we talk all the time, but this is
We do.
a treat for me.
We do. We have fun. So we want to make this fun, and we want to use this to create awareness and educate people too. But first, I think people have to find out or hear about how we met, and then talking about kind of our journey that led us to kind of collaborate to do some. I think we're doing some great things in the community, especially
Yes.
what you're doing with breast cancer survivors. So, can you just share that with our listeners?
I think I started volunteering and doing some things 2 years after I was diagnosed in like 2012, 2013. And you and we crossed paths. And then I kind of saw the ideas of what you were doing. You were able to recycle so much product and so many materials. And being able to have you gifted some items, bras, some prosthetics. Gosh, I even remember a swimsuit, a mastectomy suit.
Yes, yes.
And I was able to find women locally and gift these to them. And I continued to give back in the community, but my social work side and my brain started thinking, I've got to get this at another level, because if these women, through Elaine gifting me these items, saved their mental state at the moment and what it did for them, how could we impact way more on a whole bigger level by giving them items, whether they've been repurposed,
Right.
reused? Some women don't even need the items and they have them in their home sitting. How can we get these to women who are in areas that have no hospital nearby? So that was around I'd say between 2012, 2015. And then in 2015, you and I came together and I said, okay, I've got women on a wait list that need product, and you gifted us or donated us lots of boxes. And that's how the ball started rolling.
Right.
And we started locally connecting with the Latina community in Phoenix, and even the Black and Brown community through the Arizona Cancer Support Program. And I just started talking and just sharing, not so much always about what my story was, but what I knew was needed. There was a gap. And these were women who thought, well, I have cancer. I'm not healthy enough maybe to go through reconstruction. I just have to go without.
Right.
And so during those years, as we were building it, the bra recyclers were able to give us these items, and we found a way to give them back. And I think the success was the timeline was bra recyclers donated. I got a team of women who were in the journey of breast cancer, and they connected these products to the community. And so it just,
yeah,
it's a beautiful thing. And I really believe that there was a higher power that pushed that through, because
absolutely.
that's not easy. And
It's
and
not.
it just happened. And I know sometimes people wonder, well, how are you able to do it?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
just happened.
It did. It really did. And you know what's so interesting too is that we kind of fell into just receiving all of those mastectomy bras and prostheses. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
we were just getting literally pallets sometimes of them, because at the time there were a lot of programs that were closing down. They
Yes.
shut down.
Yes.
And it was the craziest thing. And we did not ask for them. We all of a sudden we just started getting them at the warehouse. And
Yes.
so I'm like, oh my God, what are we going to do with these? And
Yeah.
I knew that they are very expensive.
Yep.
And in high demand. And then again, we had been working with you. You were working with another organization at the time.
Right.
And they closed down.
Yes.
And I mean, we were so happy that you fought to get that product. You were like, we are not throwing these out. That is one thing, ladies and gentlemen. Elizabeth, is she was like,
Not let it happen.
no.
I remember making a call to you and saying, the organization that I'm volunteering with is shutting down, but I'm going to figure out a way to get the product. And
yes.
And we did. We worked with the people that were closing the program down, and I knew the product was going to go in a dumpster. And
yes.
I had to say, but I knew that was going to happen. And I was the last person there shutting the organization down, and I was able to really plead my case. And
yes.
And we got every single piece.
I am so glad that you did that. That was amazing. I remember when that happened, I'm like, oh my God, thank God. Because otherwise, you know, I just think about all that product that could have gone to help, that could have gone to help other women, would have been the
We
dumpsters.
saved every piece Bra Recycle
Yes.
gave us.
That was amazing. So talk a little bit about how, you know, just, you know, you're a survivor, which I love saying that to you. I love that you're a survivor because you're just so special to me. How your personal experience has really shaped the mission of Impact One.
Well, I think even this is before meeting you, when I was going through my journey, you know, the doctors were focused on getting me better. And so the rush was get the mastectomy, reconstruction after chemo and radiation. So there was this big gap of having my breasts removed and trying to live a normal life. And it wasn't a vain thing, but just comfortable, so that I felt comfortable in clothes. And once the breasts were gone and I had to do treatment, I was just in limbo. And I can remember walking in a Ross store trying to find something that would close in the front. And I was hurting, and I was like, well, they told me I had to have something closed in the front, but they didn't tell me how to get it. They just said, you need to find something to close in the front, so you're not, you know, the lymph nodes were taken out, you're not reaching in the back. And I just remember walking those aisles at Ross, and I thought, this is impossible. And I thought, if I am struggling, what about women who maybe not even have transportation to get to a Ross, or live 30 minutes from a Ross, or to any kind of boutique or anything to get recovery items? I thought, this is pure hell. And there's no way that if I'm struggling, that the other women out there aren't either. And it just really lit a fire under me. And I remember saying to myself, I whispered it in my head, when I am done, I'm going to figure out a way to help someone else so they're not in my position. And that's really how it started, is based on life experience. And I struggled. It was not an easy surgery. Everything that went wrong went wrong.
Wow.
My recovery was hard. And so I just knew that it had to have been just as bad for other women. And my mind circled to the single women in shelters. Like my brain just started going. And I just thought, they're in places where they can't even go to a local boutique and grab a few things. Even one item out the door is over $100.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So that's
absolutely.
really, that's the whole mission, is where can I give prompt support? Where can I say, here's what you need right now?
Right,
And so
exactly.
that's where it kind of started for my own personal mission for this.
Yeah. And it's so interesting you talk about that because that was one of the questions I had for you in terms of finding mastectomy bras and prostheses. Just the challenge of doing that, I would imagine, is very tough for women. And because if you don't have insurance and you don't get those free 12 bras a year or whatever,
No.
you have to figure out where to find them. What I find very interesting, so years ago, when I had my first bra fitting at Nordstrom's in
Yeah.
Minneapolis at the Mall of America, I
Yeah.
remember that. And could not find a bra that fit me. And we went through all kind of bras. And she's like, have you ever tried, it was either Anita or Amona, one of those brands. She's like,
Mhm.
have you ever tried those? I'm like, I've never even heard of those brands.
Right.
And she's
Yeah.
like, well, they're mastectomy bras. And I'm like, really? And I'm like, well, where are they? Because at the time, they didn't have them out on the floor.
Right.
They
Right.
put them in the back room. So you didn't even see them. So
Wasn't talked about.
it
Wasn't.
wasn't talked about. We're like, well, we want to just be careful. We don't offend anybody. I'm like, offend anybody? I'm like, oh my goodness. Because
Yeah.
some of them are the most comfortable bras because they have to be based on just like what you said.
Yeah.
They have to be built so that they're very comfortable and they're
Yeah.
not pulling, they're not tugging, they're not poking.
Right.
And
Right.
so, just from that, and even some of the stores probably still don't do it, but they're hidden somewhere, but they're not open and out where people can just find them or even know what to look for. So, talk about just some of those challenges that I know women have who've had mastectomies and are looking for the right, post-surgical bra or supplies. What are those challenges?
Well, I think the challenges are still there. We're getting better at having more of a navigator in between surgeries and maybe reconstruction. So let's say a woman has to go through surgery to remove the cancer. So that means her breast is removed or a lumpectomy. Some part of her body is being removed. And then you have the second phase, which is reconstruction, if they can have it. Not everyone thinks that everyone's going to have it, but it's not always that. And so we're coming further about talking about those name brands. Here's a list of some name brands that maybe you can go online and look for. The ones that we just talked about, Amono, and then even some new and upcoming ones that I know that you probably want to ask about the comfort and stuff, but there's some new and upcoming companies that are starting to realize, man, we need to really get this comfort in for these women. Their skin is rubbed raw and we're putting
Yes.
harder bra material on their skin. And so what I'm seeing in the physician side is that they're providing them more resources of what name brands might be great for that type of surgery. I didn't have that experience. So 10 years ago, that just wasn't talked about. And so the bras were put in the back at Nordstrom, or people didn't know that they could go to an orthotic company that
Yes.
prosthetic legs and arms. They actually sell the bras at a hanger clinic. They didn't know that they could go to those places and try and look into that. So we're coming a lot further along with giving people education on what kinds of things they should wear during and before. But it's still a challenge, because the challenge is we're in a metropolitan area and it's easy maybe even to drive 30 minutes to Banner MD Anderson and be able to maybe get something at the Boutique of Hope.
Right.
But if we have a woman in Globe, Arizona, there
Right.
may be a dollar store. And so I'm just being real. They're going to
Right.
not be able to get those items.
No, they're
And
not.
so they just don't know what they don't know. So we're
Right.
getting there by providing more information about the new and upcoming things that are good to wear as a recovery. And we can get into what we're sending them.
Right.
But anyways, I don't know if that's kind of going
Yeah,
off.
no, yeah. And it's interesting too, as you say, you talk about some of those stories. I remember, I think it was even before we actually met, we had started getting called. Again, like I say, everything falls, the higher power just makes things fall in
Yeah.
alignment. We had started getting calls from people, whether they were daughters or breast cancer survivors. There's like, we are stuffing our bras with, with rags or whatever, which is craziness. So, we would, hopefully be able to provide that. But
Yes.
we were like, oh my God, but we can't, it was going to be too much for us to try to take all of that on. So it was so great to be able to find you as a
Yeah.
partner that
Yeah.
was focused in on that, because they needed much more than us just sending them a bra. They needed that
Right.
support. Now, what do I do with it? How do I wash
Yeah.
it? How do I care for myself?
Yes.
So it was like I said, it was great to be able to partner up with an organization like Impact One, so
Yeah.
that you could provide more than just bra
Right.
support with
Right.
that too. So that just like I say, that's just amazing. So do
Yeah.
you, I know you guys have a I think you went through the bra fitting class.
Yeah.
I remember, I think,
Yeah.
weren't we, did we
Yeah.
go through that together, or
You
was that
you gave me all the information, and then I went and got
you went?
certified.
Okay.
Mhm.
Because I went
Yeah.
through that course. I'm gonna tell
Yeah.
you, because we do a lot of bra fitting with the women in the shelters, but that class
Mhm.
was so humbling for me
Yes. Yeah.
to actually go through. And the part of the class I think that was the most interesting is when we had volunteers of
Yeah.
women who had had mastectomies and had unfortunately botched mastectomies.
Yeah.
And you do everything, when you see someone like that. It was originally, I was taken aback, I'm not gonna lie. It
Yeah.
was kind of shocking to see that, but you
Yes.
have to just step back and
Yeah.
remember, your goal is to get them something that's going to make them comfortable and not have to suffer any more than they already have suffered because of this
Right.
surgeon who did a horrible job on them.
Right. Right.
It was truly amazing. I learned so much, and I learned how important at that point a bra could be for a woman who's had breast cancer. It is just, I mean, just makes them feel better about themselves,
Oh,
makes them look better. They've already been through hell.
yes.
So talk about that with your journey, or journey of fitting women, and your journey
Yeah.
with that too.
Yeah. Well, again, lived experience for me
Yeah.
because I was going without anything. So I went and bought every big shirt or took my husband's big shirts to cover myself. And that
Mm-hmm.
self-esteem, again, this isn't a vain thing about needing to have perfect breasts. This was to be
Right.
able to look aesthetically in your clothes, to fill them out again for you. And so um, that part was so hard for me mentally. And so
Yes.
when I tell women I get it, they know I do because I've been there. And so
Mhm.
my goal for them is, well, you just told me that you have to put reconstruction on hold for a while. You're not at your healthiest, or your body's just not ready to take that on.
Right.
Let's get you some soft inserts while you're healing, and let's get you maybe a soft bra that zips up. Now, those are things I know you've seen.
Yes.
You've given me surgical bras. You've given me little softies like this
Oh yes. Look. Yep. The
that
poofs.
can fit, the little poofs
Poofs.
that can fit,
Like
and they
these.
can actually, it protects them while they're in recovery, and they
Mm-hmm.
are not quite ready for something like a prosthetic. And
Right.
so we're able to kind of, based on even my team who's gone through it and who've had to have, but a lot of them have had to do explants, meaning they had reconstruction. It wasn't maybe botched, but it's their body was rejecting. And so they had to completely go flat. And so there are steps to this in order to get to where you get the mastectomy bra and the prosthetic. And so for our program, based on lived experience and just living and learning what works, and that it's really helping women where they are. Some women are like, I've been a year, I'm healed, and I'm just really tired of covering myself. I can't wear a t-shirt. I have to wear a big jacket to cover my concaved in chest.
Yes.
But
Mm-hmm.
we can give them a bra that not only will fit them and kind of hide a lot of the loose skin that happens, because when your breast is taken, the skin's still there, you know?
Right.
So it's
Right.
so to have a bra that's wide enough band that can hold that in, and then the prosthetic can fit into a pocket.
Yes.
You would think the women just were given $1 million
I
because
know. Do you have?
they,
I brought one with me too, because I wanted people to see. Because I think this is a good education for all of us to go through and see. A lot of people don't have a clue on what
oh,
even a prosthesis or a mastectomy
right,
bra looks like. But I
right.
think you probably have some
Yeah,
for
yeah.
those watching. There's a bra that has, you see they have the little pockets.
They have the pocket.
Yeah.
And and this is the thing, is where we're kind of telling them, we have an answer for you. We have an answer. I don't know if the
Yeah.
viewer, but, and our answer is, where are you at in recovery? If you're in just 3-4 weeks out, we've got the poofs to make you still feel
Mhm.
protected and kind of just, still feel like something's there. Or maybe you're 6 weeks out, 6-7 weeks out, and you're ready for a prosthetic. It's
Mhm.
silicone. I mean, it's silicone, and some
Yeah.
of them are heavier than others.
You're
Um,
right.
but then they fit perfectly into the pocket. And so that means that it kind of fits the form. You can see it looks like a natural breast, kind of
Yes.
so a natural breast. Um,
And they have the weight of a breast too. A
they
lot of
have
them
the weight
heavy.
of the
Yep.
breast. And it
Mhm.
could be that the woman had a double. Sometimes we
Yep.
always focus on the double, but there are women that have singles, and some people might think, why? Well, there might be reasons why, recovery reasons. Maybe it's just too much hard. It's hard on the body. They just need to have one breast removed. And so we match that and try to make sure that it fits the other
Mhm.
side. So if they know they're a D cup on left, then they need the right, then we know exactly what to give them for the right side that matches their D breast cup, if that
Nice.
makes.
So talk about, because you're talking about some of the ladies you're working with. Talk about what is the process, who you're working with. How do
Mhm.
you go through a process of, is there a vetting process that you use to work with ladies in your program?
Well, so far, I mean, we are getting busier and busier. And one of the reasons why we are busier and busier is a lot of these boutiques have shut down. I don't know if you've noticed
Yes.
that.
Yes, they
There are
have.
some that they're not. And what I'm finding is, one of our biggest supporters was Hanger. It's an insurance issue. And
It
so
is.
Hanger will have all these prosthetics, but then they're just not getting reimbursed. And so that's a
Yep.
whole nother segment that we could talk about. But so
Mhm.
so we would get women that would say, Hanger just shut down, but they told me that I could call you because I need a prosthetic. I need to be evened out. This is not good on my back, that I
Yeah.
have one breast gone and one there. And so we'll get referrals from companies that supply these products.
Right.
But we're at a point where nurse navigators will contact us, and we work closely with the nurse navigator. If their patient is in the hospital in recovery, we try to get everything set up so that by the time they get home, they've got some recovery items.
Right.
They have
Right.
maybe a recovery bra that zips in the front. It
Mm-hmm.
holds all the back, kind of supports the back area. And so those are kind of delivered to their home and waiting for them. So that could be a nurse navigator that sets that up and speaks to one of our team members who does the intake. The other option is American Cancer Society. So if someone calls and says, my wife has cancer, we just got told that our insurance will not cover a prosthetic,
Mm-hmm.
we don't know what to do. They'll refer them to Impact One, and then they'll go through a intake application online. We go through that. We find out exactly where they are in their journey. It could be pre-surgery, post-surgery.
Right.
It could be 5 years that they have had nothing and lived with it.
Right. Yes.
So we
Yes.
never put a timeline on, well, you had surgery, you had cancer 2 years ago. No, they're still in survivor mode, and this is an aesthetic thing that needs to help your self-esteem as well. So you're dealing with
Absolutely.
things. You're surviving, and you're trying to aesthetically look normal in your community and in front of people. And so it's really word of mouth, breast cancer organizations and support groups and things like that. They're
Mm-hmm.
sending the women to our organization because the need is there.
Right.
And I'll say it again, we always kind of forget about the small little towns that have nothing.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. So what would you say are like the top 5 things that, as a breast cancer survivor and a post surgery, what are those top things that they need?
So, post-surgery, I think the biggest thing, in my opinion, is surgical bras and maybe a binder, depending on what you had. So if you've had a double mastectomy with lymph node involvement and drain tubes, then you're going to maybe be sent home with maybe a bra from surgery, but
Mhm.
that only goes so far. That kind of hooks your drain tubes to the loops of
Mhm.
a bra. But you might need to be throughout the week, wanting to wear some kind of tank that gives you the drain tube pocket. So it's kind of hard to see, but see, there's a little pocket.
Yes.
Stays quiet. No one has to see that. That's one of the things I hated the most is I had to pin it to a shirt and everyone could see it because I didn't know, well, they didn't talk about it, that these inventions have happened where the pockets stay
Mm,
inside a tank. She could put a cardigan over top of it and no one would ever know that
right.
she still has drain tubes. So things like this, tanks that have drain tube holders, I'd say, I don't want to say compression tanks because you got to be careful with how much compression,
Right.
but anything that zips in the front, you just don't want anything that you have to take your arm and try to get to the back. Anything that zips through the front. And then binders. Sometimes binders just help you feel secure. Women who have little kids who are going to hop on them when they're sitting in their bedroom, you
Mhm.
don't want to be knocked and hit around. So kind of a binder that's just a Velcro binder. So those are three things: a tank with
Right.
drain
Yeah.
tube, a sports kind of bra that zips in the front. And then there are sports bras that have little loops that you can put the drain tubes are, but they're visual. Then people can see them. And
Mhm.
those are my go-tos. Those are like the
Right.
go. What happened to me is I went home wrapped in an ACE bandage.
Oh my
How am I
goodness.
going to rewrap myself after a shower? That
Oh,
was that. So those are the things that I took a mental note and thought, there is no way these women who have no help. I could call someone. I could say, Mom, come over. I need you to help rewrap me. What if you're
but you
a
don't
woman?
have, everyone doesn't
If
have
you're,
that.
what if you're, yeah, it just horrified me. And that's one of the reasons why I keep going back to why I wanted to figure out how we could impact one woman, because these items I didn't even know about.
Mhm.
And I kind of went through the hard road of it, but you learn so much and then you're able to kind of educate the community. So
Exactly.
those are my three go-tos is drain tube tanks that hide those little balls that because the drain
Right. Right.
and then just zip up sports bras that just feel comfortable. Anything that the material just feels nice, you
And then
know?
as you go get later in your journey too, are there other things? Because I know we get things in. Sometimes we'll get wigs in. Sometimes
Yeah,
we'll get sleeves. And if you want to talk about that
yeah,
a little bit, the sleeves
yeah.
that people have to
So
wear, we'll get those
a
in.
lot of times lymphedema sleeves are I can almost say 90% of the women that call, their insurance has denied them for a lymphedema sleeve. And to me, that is more important than any of these products I just described, because
Really? Oh,
you want your arm, the lymph fluid to go down.
gotcha.
Otherwise, you have a very, very swollen arm for the rest of your life. And so these lymph
Wow.
sleeves keep everything compressed so that the lymphatic system can just keep pushing through. So we get lymph sleeves, but
Hmm.
when we do, we work with their physical therapist or the nurse, so we know exactly what sizes, because you measure the wrist, the elbow, and the upper arm. And if you don't have those measurements right and you're sending someone the wrong size, we do our best, but we only will do it when we have the specific physician or someone sending us their measurements. And then if it says that on the box, that the company, like Hanger might have given us like 200, and we'll find those sizes written on the box. And we'll send that to their nurse navigator so that they can make sure. So those aren't as easy just to throw in a box, like a 32 bra, things like that. We have to be very careful what we send. But those are so hard for women to get because
Right.
they're just
And I
not.
would have never thought about that. And that's why we're having this conversation. Because I thought it would be easy to get those sleeves, but it's not. And I didn't realize there was all the key measurements that have to be taken
Yes,
in order
yes,
to give them the right one, not just give them one, give them the right one,
right.
which is, again, I don't think a lot of people know about.
So when we do get that request, most of the time it is a doctor's or nurse office, even like Aetna, like a Aetna navigator
Mhm.
will call us because they see their patient isn't covered, and those sleeves can be $200 for one sleeve. And if there's a lady on Medicare who's on a fixed income, she's either going to go without a sleeve and her arm will never be the same, or she can tap into things like our organizations that can do our best to help her if we have the product in.
Right. So talk about, I know you guys do a wonderful box that you send out. Talk about what's in that box, because I think
Yeah.
that is so special that you guys do that box. And what I know you call it something, so I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah. So we call it Hope in a Box.
Yes.
So it basically is an all-inclusive box that not one box is the same. It's not a care package. It is a box for design for you. So when the woman applies for our program, there's a list of things that we can provide, and then they check off what they need. So if someone is needing a wig, I had a lady who, what we do is we have a text line where they send us a photo of a wig or their current hairstyle. And then what we do is our volunteers will do their best to match the wig to that person's hair. Now, not always can we do it like within a week and say, oh, we've got the wig for you, because we have to wait sometimes for that particular style. We have a lot of women in the African American, the Black and brown community. We get the wigs that are more their hairstyle. And that's the beautiful thing, is that I think we wanted to really get into all women.
Absolutely.
So we've tapped into some of these organizations around the country that might just work with a certain ethnic group. And so they find out about us and they want to donate products like this.
That's
so that
great.
So that those women are being seen and heard. We're not sending every woman a blonde wig. You know, we're and who are you? What do you identify?
Yeah.
So in the box, if the application is, I just need a wig. So we'll pack it with the wig, we'll pack it with hair scarves. And then different companies will hear about us and give us extras. And that's the part of the care package. It could be anywhere from like high-end EOS lotion to, really nice razors to nail polish, like lots of little things that you're not running to Walmart and getting those while you're in recovery. You can just kind of take a moment and not have to go out and get those things. So our box will be packed with what is needed. So if the woman is, I was just on a call with a lady, so she's having reconstruction, she's having surgery, she knows all of it, but what she's realizing is that she doesn't have anything to come home in. And so I said, you know what? We don't need to talk about prosthetics and all that. What we need to talk about is your recovery items. So we will pack you with, she's a 2X. That's okay. We're going to find those sizes. So we'll pack them up with any size like I'll say, what is your normal shirt size? And if she's like, I'm a 2X, then we'll find the 2X tank, and she'll get something like this everything's style is different, but she'll get something like this in the box. And then depending on the size, we'll send her something like this. So we're like, you're just needing something to recover in, to prepare for reconstruction. Lots of times, women, if we have them, we'll get the mastectomy pillows.
Oh, yes.
This is a lot of times, maybe sometimes women have had to go back several times with, I hate to say this, but maybe botched surgery or explants. And so you just want to protect yourself as you keep going in. So this kind of wraps around you and just protects you. I know this is kind of hard. It protects you so that there's just psychologically, when you have a cut, you don't want it to be touched. You don't want it to, it's kind of, your mind does not want to be bumped. And so the box could be filled with those items. Not all of them sometimes, but sometimes they get an all-inclusive box with everything from the wig down to the prosthetic, and the value could be over $1,000 in one box.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. I know you customize those boxes. So I thought that's just the coolest thing for that too. So, and like I said, whenever we get stuff like that in, we make sure you get that. So, one thing, I know we've talked about a lot of, the supplies and things you need, but what about that emotional support that women need? Because I know you guys help with that too. Because I think that probably is one of the most important pieces that women going through this journey of breast cancer, they need that emotional support. So talk about that and what you guys provide, and even talk about your own journey with that.
Yeah. I think the beautiful thing is when we created this team, we really had to be like no, we have to have women that have walked this walk. And I'm not saying that other people, I mean, caretakers understand, but for women to go, wait, you had surgery? Yeah, I did. Please tell me. You need that connection. And
Right.
so for women who are on our team, like Brenda, who
Mhm.
has gone through the surgery, explant, surgery, and all the so many ups and downs, to have someone say, I've been down that road, you've just had a big therapy session, because
Yes.
that has just helped people's minds. And so we do it through two ways. One is through one-on-one phone calls, and
Mm.
it takes time. It's not that it takes a lot of time, because we
Mhm.
are calling these women and we're being very intentional and mindful in that moment of that one woman. But
Right.
we also have a text line, and I think that's been a really good thing, because women might not be in the mood to talk, but they might be able to text and say, I'm in recovery right now, but next week I'll find out when I can have the reconstructive surgery. And we could be like, okay, let us know when you are done and tell us the plan, and we will begin seeing how we can help you. So it's kind of been a really good way of touching two types of survivors or fighters that are in need of speaking, whether it is on the phone, email, or through text.
Mhm.
And we just don't, there's women that are homebound, and they just need to talk, you know?
Yeah.
And so we're just doing our best to be very mindful of where they are, and that what they are going through is really real to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And
And
everybody's journey is different.
it's traumatic. And some people can
Mhm.
just handle it, and some people
Mhm.
get in and go, I'm done, I'm good, I'm done, I'm out,
Mhm.
I don't want to talk about it. And then
Mhm.
some people need to process this, and it's a long, I sometimes say kind of like PTSD. It's just
Mhm.
very, very hard to process what's happened. But by having a support group, even though you can go to support groups, and I have helped start one up locally, um, sometimes not every woman wants to do that either. So that
Right.
one-on-one, through a text, through a phone call, and you know, we think of women sometimes, oh, it's the women that are in their 50s, 60s, 70s. No, we're working with women who are 26 years old that have a history of breast cancer, and they had to have elective mastectomy because they are BRCA2 positive.
Right.
So
Right.
the journey is so wide, you
Right.
know?
Right. Are you seeing any trends like that where you're seeing younger women, or are there any over the last 10 years or so you're seeing different trends?
Definitely, definitely. And I
Mm.
think that for me, now this is for our caseload and what we've seen.
Mhm.
The when we first started, I saw a lot of the elderly population.
Mhm.
Um, and now, because we've come a long way, that it's okay if you go flat. It's okay that
Mhm.
you don't reconstruct. And so when these younger generations are coming to us, I'm starting to see that they're wanting to have maybe just some good soft bras that will just,
Right.
even flat, but they can feel trendy. They can feel like they're not being put in this box of someone who is, dying. They can just feel
Right.
like, you know what, I'm going to go flat. I've chosen this route, but I can get some nice things to make me feel better. And so I see that they're finding out about us, because
Mhm.
these younger generations are in these support groups, and they're like, you know what? I just got this amazing soft bra from
Yes.
Impact One. It was shipped to me for free. And I feel like I look just like my age, you
Right.
know? So we're very mindful of the age group and what we think they would want, you know?
Right. No, that's amazing, because I know just in running across some younger women, a lot of them are making that decision to just go flat, and they're okay with that. And that is amazing
It
that they're
is.
okay with
It's
that. And they, and it has to come from them. They have to make that decision
Yep.
to do that. Because I know sometimes it's a vanity thing, and women
Yes.
want those breasts back because it's just a part of
Yes.
who they are.
Part
So
of who they
they
are.
want that. And that's fine too. That is
Yep.
fine too. So if as you know, bras, I'm in the bra business here. Um, just talk a little bit again, kind of summarizing how important is a bra to a woman who is kind of going through this breast cancer survivor journey? Talk about that a little bit.
Well, when you get women leaving messages in tears saying, I
Mhm.
just got my bra, I have not had a bra since surgery 12 months ago, that tells you something. That means they have been mourning something that was lost. And you give them a material thing that makes them feel put back together.
Yeah.
That's the answer right there. A bra puts you into a place of feeling whole again.
Mm.
That's my answer.
Mm.
Like, it's just, even if you're not having reconstructive surgery, there's some women that have had breast cancer
Yeah.
and they were lucky enough to catch it early, but we still send them a bra because it makes them feel whole again.
Oh, yes.
There's something about an undergarment that is in that, and we do our best to make everything look just nice and fresh and everything.
Yes.
And it changes here.
It
It changes.
does. It does.
So the importance of it is on every level, from someone who didn't have to have the reconstructive or mastectomy, it could be just a lumpectomy, all the way down to the most severity of severities. And it doesn't matter. They still feel whole again. So it
Absolutely.
doesn't matter where they are in their journey, you're still helping them, I think, emotionally, mentally heal. So that's my
Right. You know, and it's so interesting because those same things you just said, we hear from
Mhm.
women who have suffered domestic violence
Yes,
situations, who've
yes,
lost everything, don't have
yes.
a bra. We hear
That's
those same things. So I
that's
truly appreciate what you're doing. It is amazing. We will continue to support you as
yeah,
long as we can. We got stuff for you too. So when you need it,
yeah,
let us know. But
okay,
let people know how to get a hold of you. What's your website? You know,
yeah,
what's your contact information? If people know people who they want to refer to your
yeah,
program, tell people what
yeah.
that is.
Well, the easiest thing is go directly to our website because that will really tell the story. It's impact1.pink. So it's IMPACTONE.pink. And that will kind of just tell you the whole story of Impact One and how you can get on there, and you can even see more resources that are available. Just throwing it out there to women who are not, survivors, they've never had breast cancer, but we're tapping into a lot of prevention. And
Right.
so by doing that, they can get on there and see when we have our next mammogram. And that's just
Yes.
something that we're trying to really push so that our prevention numbers are going up, because we would prefer not to have to do all this. We
Right.
prefer
Yes.
to be able to catch this sooner than later. And so on that site, it will not only give resources, it will give mammogram information and then how to apply for the box. We make the application very simple because we know there's a lot of hoops to jump through when you're
Right.
getting services and assistance. So,
Right. Right. No, we will definitely put your information
okay.
in our post so that people can reach out to you. But thank you so
Of
much. I
course.
love you to death, as you know.
I know, I know. It's a great story. I wish maybe one day we can really tell it to the world.
Absolutely. Well, we're getting it out there. So thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Hey, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Elizabeth. I know I always enjoy talking with her. And October is a month where, it's a month where we're celebrating survivors, whether they're domestic violence survivors or breast cancer awareness survivors, or just women who are going through challenges. So this is a month for you to open those drawers up, see the bras that you no longer can wear, could never wear. And we want you to get them out of your drawers so that we can make sure that women in need can use those. So as you heard Elizabeth talk about, a bra is an amazing thing to boost self-esteem, to just make a woman feel better about herself. So we want you this month to clean out your drawers, tell some friends, and make sure you send or drop your bras off during the month of October, actually all year, but October for sure. This is the time to do that. Thanks so much for your continued support.